Hey everybody, it's David R. Becker here again with BeckerArt, and we are plein air painting this morning. And we are plein air painting this morning in Woodstock, Illinois, where they filmed Groundhogs Day. And so let me just show you what we're going to be painting. And it's going to be another rainy day. I woke up this morning and it was beautiful, and I headed out to Woodstock here because it's like a kind of a famous town from that movie. And so as I'm going here, it just started pouring. And so now I'm underneath something here, and this is the Opera House. Let me just show you where we're painting. And so we're going to be painting this scene right here. This is the Opera House. And if you remember the movie Groundhogs Day, this is the town. And that's the courthouse over there. This is the diner that Bill Murray used to go into every morning in Groundhog's Day, the movie. And this, of course, is the Opera House. And I am underneath here. I am underneath this little thing. So if it does start raining again, because it was pouring about 15 minutes ago, just downpouring. And so another interesting morning. And I think it's going to rain again because it looks dark back there. In that direction, that's west. So let's see what we got here. So Groundhog's Day, take 2. And so I've already sketched it up. I sketched it up right after it started raining. And so if you look close, what I'm going to do is I'm doing underneath this awning here of the Opera House. And I'm above, so nothing can rain on me if it does start raining, which it probably will. And so here is what we're going to be doing. I added 2 people going to the theater, to the opera, and they used to have art exhibits here. I'm not sure if they do that anymore, and I'm here at stage left, which is a little place that I think they have comedy here and stuff. And so yeah, let's get going. We can finish this baby in hopefully less than an hour. I am working on a board this morning. It's called a hardboard, and I put a ground on it, a absorbent ground that there's a couple of manufacturers that make it, and even Holbein has this stuff that you can put on. It's like a gesso, and you can give it texture. So this watercolor is going to have texture, and it absorbs the watercolor. And so we'll see how that goes. And hopefully I have everything in there. And let's get started. And of course, like always, I start out with my lights. And so since it is again an overcast day, I will make it wet streets, because it is wet streets. Not as wet as it was about 20 minutes ago, but we'll see how it goes. And then I shrunk everything in a little bit, because when you're looking through the camera, you see a little bit less, because you're kind of cropping everything. But when you're out here on your own, you tend to have a lot of the stuff that you're putting in there. Let me just see if this is gonna interrupt vision of I think it's okay. So I'm gonna start out with the lights. And again, I forget my paper towel, so I have to use my shirt again. So you go right in here. And with this board, I'm going to be using a little bit more white, because I'm going to make it thick. It's almost like a gouache. I'm going to use it. And there's a very much texture to this paper, or board, because it is very textured. I took a roller and I rolled across it, and so you pick up a lot of texture on this. I'm only doing that so it doesn't look so watercolor-like, but more almost like a gouache in an oil painting, because then it has that texture of like your brush strokes. And just something different. Again, when you're plein air painting, a lot of times, oh boy, I really should get some paper towel. There's a Starbucks behind me. I probably should go in there and just get some paper towel. Too late now. And so I'm going to actually use a little white. See, I'm using white in while I'm putting down my first wash, I'm going to actually put white in there. And hopefully this is cobblestone street, so hopefully you can hear me when the cars go by. And it's going to go light blue. And so again, everything in the background, the buildings back there, I'm going to lessen the contrast compared to what it is in the front. So I'm just going to go in here and see it's a little bit thicker. I'm using a little bit thicker. I can go right into this area too because that's going to be darker. Alright, and so I'm just going to put that in there like that. See the sky through here a little bit. And while I'm doing the sky, I'm also going to do the streets right away, because when I'm doing the streets, then I can reflect that from the sky color into the street. And the street is going to be darker, but then again, puddles and stuff like that in the street will then reflect the sky color, basically. So again, because it's not paper, I'm going to be putting in white. And I don't know if you can see that well enough. Again, if you just join me here, we are in Woodstock, Illinois, where the film Groundhogs Day was filmed with Bill Murray. And I forgot what her name was. But anyways, we're going in here, and let's put some worms in this street right away. It's pretty warm. So I'm going to use a little bit of the light red that Holbein makes. So working our way from light to dark. And a little bit of earth tone down here, because it is a grayish warm gray. So again, light red, which is kind of like a terracotta color. And again, this is the light areas. And as you can see, it's very textured. It's very textured because of what I did with the brush when I first went in there. I really wish I had paper towel here right now. Nice thing is I can wipe out. See, I can wipe out areas. Like here's a street, here's some cars. I can't believe the weeks I've been going, it's constantly raining. Every week I go, it rains. One of these weekends I'm going to come up here and actually do a sunny sky. It's sunny over this direction, but it's heading east, and so we are going to get some rain in a little bit. But I'm underneath this awning here, so we won't have any problems. This is the light of the building. I'm not sure if you can see the light of the building. But the building is pretty light here. And so I just want to make it so that I get some of that light of the building. And basically, when you're going light to dark, even though this background back here, where is it? This background right back here, that's pretty dark. But in my painting, I'm going to make that a lighter thing so it sits back, and let the awning here of the opera house, this dark part right here, I'm just going to have that come forward and be my center of interest, and with the people right there. And so that'll be my darks. And so here I'm going to go now and just get the background buildings and make them grayer than they are, and not very detailed, because again, I'm kind of making almost a rain scene. And again, which is I guess good, because I wanted to practice that. But every weekend it'd be nice to have one weekend where it's a little sunny, sunnier. Well, hopefully it'll start raining, then you'll see what it looks like darker, because the sky in the east right now is pretty light, and so that is going to be about in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Actually, it's moving left. That's really weird. Huh. Maybe this is positioned different than I think it is. This position. Alright, so there's the buildings in the back. See how fast that is? You just put them in quickly, put in their buildings. Here's some cars. Again, I can't put them detail in there, because if you put detail way back there, then it becomes more of a center of interest. You know, we want to keep that back. these cars over here. Gosh, I really wish I had a paper towel. So I'm just going to pull out some of the lights again, and that's going to be the cars. There's our white car, and there's our white car turning right now. And so we're just going to put the cars back there. The street right on this side is a little bit darker. So, and as you notice, I did fill up my palette finally yesterday because I was running out. I didn't realize I was always running out of paint. So I just filled it up with my nice Holbein paints. This is a bunch of greenery right here. I'm going to use my smaller brush. Well, let me first get this this big side. Always work your large areas first. Your biggest areas, you work them first. And those are the lights. So I'm going to work those light areas really nicely. There's a nice red on this that they put on this brick, or on the part that's painted kind of reddish here, right here. But the brick itself is kind of like a tan color. So with that one, we're just going to go with like a little tan color. And I am using a little bit thicker paint because, why? Because I'm covering a board, and so a panel, and I put texture on it with, like I said, if you weren't here in the beginning, I'm using a board that I painted a gesso ground on, and the gesso ground will give me a texture, making it kind of look like an oil painting, because you see the brushwork and stuff. And I definitely have to make this lighter. This is supposed to be a lot lighter and more yellow ochreish kind of. This is actually the color of the door. There's a garage door that used to be here. It looks like in the old days, and so now it's just the facade of the building. So let me just really quickly again put some of this light parts in here. So we're just gonna take this. Again, always work the lights first and watercolor, and then you put the darks over it. So I can go right to this part that's going to be darker and try to get the right color. I'm going for local color this time. I'm not kind of making it up. I'm kind of trying to go for the color that it actually is. And here are the steps. Over the steps. Again, there's no darks here yet. See, it's pretty much my lights. I'm getting my color tone, and since we're doing a rain scene again, grays. You know, don't worry about the grays. The grays are good. They'll make it look really nice. Now I'm going to go right into this big area of the doors, which is kind of a salmon color. So I'm going to use some red with a little bit of yellow, making it orangey. And pink. Pink is like a salmony pink. So we're gonna go right in here. Make those a little bit darker colors. And this area will be my lightest of the dark colors.
You did walk here all the way. I'm very proud of you.
So we're gonna be putting in this color of dark.
What is he doing?
Painting.
What's he painting out here?
Because people like to look at the things that they paint.
You gotta love little kids who ask questions. You just heard that. Yeah, what's he painting? So here again is the salmon color. Putting that in there. All these parts are painted salmony color, the latex it looks like, a matte latex. And again, to get that color, I'm going to use like a pink orange. It's a kind of salmony color. And then there's a bunch of that little through here. And so I think I'm going to switch to my smaller brush because I've got all my big stuff going here. Again, I block in lots of big areas, trying to get the biggest parts done. And I'm getting a lot of soft edges because I'm working wet in the wet. And this week in my Thursday class we were working on clouds, right? And so it's all about working wet in the wet and getting your soft edges with wet in the wet. That's a good thing. So now we're just going to start working from the background forward. And so I'm going to start back here, and I'm going to get these buildings a little bit darker on this side, going around my cars. There's some cars back there. And when I say cars, you're going to see like maybe a little square areas with a little bit of dark for the windshields or the rear windows. It's like the windows are a little dark here. And underneath the cars you'll see just the shadow underneath, and that'll be about it. And then when I do the really fine details, I'll be putting like tail lights and stuff like that in there, where you get a red color for the tail light, the brake lights and stuff. So put that in there. Here, these have some windows back there. I'm keeping this all really soft edged, because again, it's supposed to look like a rain scene, and I will make the sky darker. Right now it is light. It is actually, that's looking east. I mean, that's looking east. But in the east part there, it was really sunny this morning, but over on the west, it was coming in really, really dark. And so I got a feeling, again, it's going to probably be raining in a little bit. Now the tree over there is kind of a dark green, and so I'm just going to start putting that in there. So that's in the distance. And there's a lot of greenery. There's greenery right here and here, so I might as well put that in right now. I started putting in my greens from the back forward. So I'm going to scumble this in. And what is scumble? I'm taking the side of my brush and I'm putting it across the rough texture of my panel. Again, this is a panel, a hardboard panel with gesso ground on it. So I'm just going to put this in here like this. Again, bring that down to the front here. Then the same greenery, same greens I'm just going to put into the tree. I'm going to put into this foliage or this stuff. And again, I'm keeping it pretty loose, and I'm keeping it very lost edges and very gray. On a rainy day, it ends up being very gray. Things become very gray. And you don't have to use such vibrant colors, and save your vibrant colors for like big areas. And so there, it doesn't seem like there's any flowers in there. If you want to put flowers in there, you can, but do that in the detail stage. Again, detail stage is when you put the fine details in, and we're not at that stage yet. We're just putting in, the big areas. And since it's wet streets, I'm going to just reflect that into the streets. Always reflect your, when you're doing wet streets, you reflect what's up above it into the street. And so I'll do that after I get this other part in here. So there's the signs and stuff in here, but this is enough for what's going on back there. I don't want to get really crazy with what's going on back there. And I'm just going to right away now just start with my darkest dark. I'm going to establish my darkest dark too, so I can kind of regulate what my darkest dark is going to be. My darkest dark is pretty much inside here, with the really dark silhouetting against the sky. And so I'm just going to go in there and put a really dark color. I'm just going to actually use black at first, just to start out a really nice dark color here. And this will be in the distance here. And the architectural part of this building, I could sit there for days doing all this intricate work, but I'm just doing a sketch of this, and so I don't have to sit there and try to get it exactly like it is. I could always do that when I'm doing like a studio painting inside my studio, but for this, I'm just you're gonna understand that that's the arch, and underneath there it's a little bit darker, but a little bit orange. It's painted warm here, a little bit lighter, and then I'll make it kind of look like, because each one of these has a little curve, and that's too much to actually sit there and do all that right now. I can do that when I do a painting, like a studio painting. This is a plein air painting, and to do that kind of detail is just too much. So I'm not going to try to sit there and do all that exact detail. It's more, what do you say? It's more post-impressionistic, so it's not so hyper-realism. It's just basically getting in, putting in what you see. There's a little tree back here in the distance, so I use the same bluish green, or the green color back there. It is kind of green, and I will put the tree, these little trees back here. Lose edges as much as you possibly can. If you can lose the edges, that's a good thing. And when I do the people and stuff like that in this scene, then I will work a little bit more intricate and a little harder edged in the front here, so then that really pops out. Notice I didn't put enough blue in here in the sky. So I'm going to put a little bit of blue back there again. Probably shouldn't have done that, because now it's going to look like it's I try to fix it. Usually when you do the sky, it's got to be done. You know, don't go back into your sky like I'm doing right now. Just get it done and leave it. But there's a little banner right there off the pole, and so I made it too wide. And so, anyways, so let's go back to our building here, and we'll just start getting this really dark. Go right to my detail. My darkest dark now. Big areas are my darkest dark, and so I will just do the top of this awning here, this rooftop. And I usually like to do that with a square or flat brush, because a rectangular brush works best when you're doing that. See if anybody's watching. I'm just looking to see if anybody's watching. If you do have questions, leave them there, and I can maybe answer them later. Call Starbucks and ask them for paper towels. We'll see if they can get away and bring you some. Oh, hey, Marianne. All right, so we're going over here. And then we're going to put this little on top here. It's fun doing architecture like this of these old buildings and stuff. It's really amazing. You know, it's just, and when you do it in the studio, you can spend more time on all that stuff. But now I'm just getting the overall picture of it. Again, just trying to capture the sense of the building and the scene, and not trying to be so photographic with it. Just trying to get a feel of the rainy day. And I may even put another guy down here with an umbrella just to show. And I'm kind of actually hoping that it does rain, because after all that, when you're here sketching when it rains, and then it stops, and then you're hoping that it rains again, so that you can pick up all those little intricate things that happen when it rains, like the shadows and street reflections and all that kind of stuff. That's really fun to do. So here we go down with this. Now this dark is going to be a little bit slightly lighter, and so I can maybe just add a little bit of blue, light blue to it, and so that it's just a little bit lighter than the black, and so that it will stick out forward in front of the really dark in there. So we're going to come down here, and then back here there's also some dark from this on the back here. I don't know if you love the movie as much as I do, but Groundhogs Day is such a great movie. And to see the diner and stuff, those people you see in the distance right there, the people in front of the diner where the car just turned, right there, those people right there. Well, they're at the diner that he always went into when he was in the movie. The diner, that's the diner he always would go into and talk to his. So go down here. A little more detail. I'm not doing it so detailed that again, there's a lot of little architectural things in here that I'm not going to have time to do. But it's enough to show that what's there. That And it's too far away too to get it so super detailed. And this is basically enough to make it, you can understand what it is. And then when it dries, I'll get the really fine detail like this. There's the lights up there. Pretty amazing structure here they have. There's a light right here on this pole too. There's a light pole. See, when using a flat brush, everything out there is rectangular, so that's how I use a flat brush when I'm doing city scenes and street scenes and buildings, because everything's rectangular, right? I mean, this step right here is a rectangle. The dark side of this step is rectangular. So how easy it is just to take a brush and just, if I took a smaller one, I could just turn it sideways and go one brush stroke. But it makes the corners, makes the corners for me and everything, so I don't have to even worry about that. Darks. Oh, I hear a train. I don't know if you can hear that train somewhere in the distance. Thanks. And so then we're going to bring this down, since it is reflective. I'm just going to reflect that right down into the street, into the sidewalk, I mean. So bring that down, and then shove it over a little bit. Bring it down. Here there's people. I'm just going to get the reflection into them right away. And it's just taking the same color, making a double. And there's a little thing right here, a little curb. So put that in there. Now, since it's very damp out because it just rained, it's taking a real long time to dry on this board because it's very damp, my paper or the board, and so you're not going to be getting a lot of drying in this. It's just impossible to have it dry because it's absorbing the moisture in the air, and so it's almost not drying at all. That's why it keeps on running, but that's okay. So you just use that in for your advantage and just somehow make it work. Use a little bit thicker paint. It's a little bit darker. And then there's a railing, which I didn't even draw in. There's a railing right here, which I just realized I never even drew in. So I'm gonna have to make that up. And so that'll be the last thing I do, though. I'll make that up a little bit later. So now I just want to still get my darks. And here the door, the edge of the door. And I always put in warm, like orange tones in the eave of things because it makes it look very realistic. You use that. Now you can hear the train, but there must have been a train going by somewhere here. It's really kind of loud. This side, we're gonna a bunch of little darks up here. Again, I'm in my dark stage now. I'm gonna put the darks in. And even the sidewalk down here is a little bit darker than as you're going looking away. So I'm just gonna take a nice, ugly, dark color here, and just dark, warm, ugly color. I'm just going to go across it and make it nice and dark. And then I can make my reflections even darker yet. And here there's going to be a hole right there. There's going to be a bunch of things in here. Bring that over to this side. Get that nice and wet street look. Now let's go in here and get this nice and dark. Get more architectural parts of this here, a little bit darker and more defined. So here, a few more dark little things. It's always about the big lights and darks. Everything I do is about the big lights and darks. Even, that shouldn't be light actually, oh my gosh, the sun's coming out. Unbelievable. Okay, well, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't all of a sudden change from, you know, rainy day to Sunday in sunny day in your painting. It just doesn't work that way. So we're just going to leave it at that, leave it what it is. More of an overcast day. Another pull back here, and now I'm going to use my finer brush. I'm just going to get finer and finer as you go along. So let me put the people in there right now. There's going to be just a few more things. Nice darks in here. And I got two people just standing here. Let's see if I get my small brush in here. I'm just going to have to be done with this one. So maybe I'll put a little bit of red on her. A red shirt, a red jacket. Nice dark pants. Over there, if this is the opera house, it probably should be dressed really sharp, right? Out there. We got the opera. I cannot believe it's sunny out now. It's unbelievable. You wouldn't believe how dark the sky was a little bit ago. All this little frilly stuff here. It's light. And I'm just kind of making it up as I go here real quickly. Here's the lamp post. And we got a little round ball at the end of the lamp post with a little bit of a I almost have to kind of remember kind of what it was, because I cannot, again, like I said, I cannot change things from my first initial value study that I left in my mind, because it was all about my mind, what I had done. So you can't switch it, you know, halfway through. You've got to go with what you have. Little greens in here. You know, look at that, I put my finger into that, so that's nice. That's really nice. I put my finger in there. I'll just go right over it, and then there is these little windows inside this little garage door here. This really fancy garage door in here. And there's a little bit of a curvature in here. Little panels in the door. That into the street. Nice thing is that people really like to see wet streets, and so it's, you know, don't be afraid of painting when you're out when it's raining. You know, go out there and just do it. Go ahead and get your painting done. Definitely get underneath something. You don't want to go in the rain and actually paint in the rain. But as you can see, I'm getting shadows out there now, so yeah, it goes from rainy day to instantly. So, a few more reflections, and now let's get our details, and then we'll be almost done. And I do have to find a place to run today. I usually do a run after this, and I haven't ever been up this area to see if there's a park or something. So I'm gonna go into my GPS and see if there's any kind of park around here. We're gonna do my long run on Sunday mornings after my plein air now. So let's go. Here we got a few signs in here. And like all these signposts are all black. They paint them black for me, which is really nice of them. Everything's either the black signposts, and there's a stop sign back here. It's in the middle of the street. There's a stop sign right there. So let's just put there's a little stop sign. And yeah, anytime you put those posts in, make sure they put reflections right into the street right away too. We'll just bring them into the street. Wisp them down a little bit. They don't have to be really detailed, but they do need to be in there. And they can be, I'm going to make the street a little bit darker right here, because it is actually darker. And so before it was wet, and so I was reflecting the sky, but now it's just dark, and so that's what I do. I just put that in there that way. A little red right here from that stop sign. Bring this down. Let's get really dark in here again, where our darkest dark is going to be. See, when you establish your darkest dark, then you can put it in the very end as a detail. See, I'm just putting in really dark darks now. I'm just putting a solid black to go in there and just get those things to really pop. And then this can have a nice little detailed texture to it. Cleaning it up a little bit. People can be a little bit more. See, I'm just adding contrast now, and my center of interest is my center of interest, so I want that to look very, very detailed. Remember, I said I was going to put a little red into the taillights of these cars, just so you can see these cars. But so just by putting red taillights in there, that makes it look enough like cars. That's all you need. And because this, see how it just basically ran, because it's not ever going to dry. Because like I said, it is drying up a little bit now. The sky is clearing up, so it doesn't look like it's going to rain now. So I'm just going to wipe that away. Was that in the movie? The bells from this opera house? I wonder. And so here, this is a textured brick. This textured brick here. I'm just going to get that now. So being textured brick, I'm going to go in here and then just get the textured brick happening. Alright, hear the bells. Alright, let me look at it through the camera. And then last thing I'm going to do is all the fine details, like the cracks in the street, the ones that break your mama's back, I guess. And these right here. Morning. How are you? That looks great. Oh, thanks. It's getting there.
It looks great.
Thanks.
Try and stay out of the weather.
Yeah, I was glad it cleared up a little bit. It looked pretty bad this morning.
Yeah, good.
And we just had a police officer come by and say it was pretty decent. That's kind of nice. Hey, morning. Morning, guy. Look at that. You can't even see your eyes.
Oh, that's very interesting, isn't it? Oh, that's excellent. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
So beautiful. Come on. It's nothing.
A few more things, and now I'm I'm actually using white paint now, and I will put some of the white in there, and then we're almost done. The streets are getting a little bit fuller. Now look at it, a whole different scene. It's all sunny. So when I get done here, I'm going to take a bunch of pictures now with the sun out, and so you can either do it in the sun. When I get back to my studio, I can make a sunny scene out of it, or I can make a rainy scene out of it, because I have all the shots from rain to not rain. All right, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Let me just so I think that's can't see anything else. Let me just do a close-up of it, and so you can see it. So here is the scene on board. And again, you see how I made this area here all the dark, and everything else around it. I pretty much, because it was more of a rain scene and it was a wet street, so I kept this stuff way in the distance, pushed that way back, and as it comes forward, you get darker, and then all the little details. And so there you have it for another Sunday morning paint along, not paint along, I guess a little plein air before my run, painting plein air. And like I said, a bunch of people are coming by now, and so maybe I'll even sell it. You don't never know, right? So let's show you the scene again. So if you ever do want to paint it, let me just go down here a little bit. There's the scene. So take a shot of that, and if you'd like to paint it, go right ahead. I have no problems with that. And I hope you learned a little bit something here today. All right, and so until next Sunday, we'll see you then. All right, bye-bye.